What is going on, YouTube? This is Jim Afanis, and I have not one, but 2 pages of notes. It can only mean one thing. It's time to discuss WWE's Royal Rumble 2016. Now, it took place in my backyard of Orlando, Florida, but tickets were insanely overpriced, so I did not go. But I took diligent notes for you guys, and I have plenty to talk about. So let's jump right into it. We start off with an amazing quote from my man, Vincent Kennedy McMahon. I love this night almost as much as I love me. Overall, Royal Rumble was pretty good. I've seen better. I've definitely seen worse. The main match, the Royal Rumble itself, had plenty of thrills and chills and expected outcomes, unfortunately. We'll get into that in a minute. I'm going to go in order of each match. We started off with an amazing last man standing, which is basically street fight rules. Anything goes. All you got to do is stand up before 10 seconds. Between Dean Ambrose, the reigning Intercontinental Champion, and Kevin Owens. Now, these guys have had a feud for quite a while. Dean Ambrose is arguably one of the most energetic current WWE superstars. Kevin Owens obviously came onto the scene very hot and heavy, taking out John Cena on his very first night. Since then, Kevin Owens has been around in the title picture. He actually had the strap for a while. There's a lot of bad blood between these two guys. There were some amazing moments, particularly with weapons. You had kendo sticks. You had a cannonball through the announce table barricade area. You had steel chairs set up numerous times that were slammed through and used as weapons. The stairs were used as weapons. Tables stacked up among other tables. There was a lot of action going on here. It was great because the crowd was eating it up, so people were going nuts. And the way we have our surround sound set up, actually, I don't know how we have it set up other than we have 5 speakers and it does what it does. Our 2 front speakers, we have 3 in the front and 2 in the back. The 2 side speakers, like in the front, that is like the primary audio for the wrestlers. The front center speaker kind of alternates, but the 2 back ones are always like audience reactions. So if I'm watching a football game, I'll always hear the cheers and the boos and everything. There was a heckler. I don't know who this guy was, but my hat's off to you, good sir. He was so funny the entire night. He was heckling everybody. Hey, Kevin Owens, nice tattoo. You know, The Rock has a cooler one than you. Hey, Kevin Owens, you're so fat. I mean, just laying into him. It was so good. That heckler made the night. It was just so funny listening to this guy throughout the night. But he was really on fire early on. When the match started to get towards the end, there was a set of steel chairs set up. Freaking Dean Ambrose, dirty deeds through the steel chair. It was great. Flying elbow drop off the top rope, Macho Man Randy Savage style, on Kevin Owens in front of the announce table. Table explodes into a trillion pieces. Kevin Owens, then they go back in the ring. Another table is set up. Kevin Owens does his reversal corkscrew. So it looks as if Dean Ambrose is about to put him through the table with like a suplex. Kevin Owens does this crazy flippy corkscrew thing, puts Dean Ambrose through the table. Does a power bomb, his pop-up power bomb finisher move. Dean Ambrose stands up. Then Kevin Owens sets this elaborate setup of steel chairs. And right before he pushes Dean Ambrose through the chairs in the ring, Dean Ambrose pushes Kevin Owens outside, not 1, but 2 tables stacked on top of one another. Kevin Owens explodes in a blaze of balsa wood glory, and he does not get up. Dean Ambrose retains the title in one of the greatest street fight, hardcore, whatever you want to call it, matches I've seen in a very, very long time. These 2 guys put on an exceptional performance. Then we jumped into the Tag Team Championship. The New Day, with the fabulous Freebird rules, Kofi Kingston and Big E squared off against Jimmy and Jay, the Usos. The New Day continues to be zany as hell. A couple weeks ago on Raw, Chris Jericho broke Francesca, which is Xavier Woods' trumpet. So he brought out Francesca 2, his new trumpet, because and to quote him, a man has needs, which was hysterical. Anyways, the Rudy Tooty Booty Crew, of course, up to their usual hijinks. A lot of distracting the ref, a lot of really dirty tactics. That's what these guys are known for. Probably one of the best things that really made me laugh. They like to clap their hands. New Day Rocks. New Day Rocks. And Big E was playing the bongos on, I guess, like Jay's head. Like, New Day Rocks. And it's just zany humor. These guys just work because you want to hate them. But they're so funny. They're wearing like hot pink outfits. They look like bozos. But they get it done. Big E does this amazing shoulder spear through the ropes, blowing the Usos just clean out of the match. Then there's a blind rear tag by Big E. That's what these guys are known for. These always shenanigans. Just when one of the Usos, I don't remember which one, thinks they have Kofi on the ropes, Big E does the blind tag in out of nowhere, smashes him, does the big ending, and wins the match. They retain the titles. New Day keeping the titles, I think, is a great thing. The Usos have had their time. I know the New Day's kind of getting to that point where they've had their time, but they're still extremely entertaining. I think they'll do more for the championship right now than the Usos will. And it would be nice to see some other tag teams kind of rise into the fray. As you guys know, I'm a huge fan of the tag team division, which has been stagnant again as of late. They kind of go in waves. They'll bring in a couple new tag teams that don't really work out. The Ascension, really hot, and then they kind of petered out. Lucha Dragons were really good until freaking Sin Cara got hurt again. But not to be outdone, Kalisto, one half of the Lucha Dragons, fought against Alberto Del Rio, and I don't know how many times this rubber match has gone back and forth. This was being for the United States Championship. Now, Alberto Del Rio has come back to Raw with a vengeance. This guy looks like freaking Batista jacked up. Like, he's all, like, huge and, like, he could barely walk. I mean, he's in really, really good shape right now. So him going up against Kalisto, who's probably 5 foot tall, maybe, is really kind of goofy to watch, to think Kalisto can inflict any damage whatsoever on Alberto Del Rio. And that's where they get into this gimmick of this small guy. You've seen the Rey Mysterios of the world. You know what they do. They're very small but very explosive. They start off with a lot of runs. They bounce off ropes. They do goofy moves that won't really hurt you, but of course they're sold to hurt you. Like they'll run off the rope and they'll jump in the air and do this like corkscrew, or they'll spin and hit you, which would probably inflict like literally no damage to you. But it works, of course, in the land of wrestling. They do a ton of hurricanranas where they run and do like leg scissors around your head and flip you around. A lot of twists and manipulations. And the problem with that is it's hard to sell a match like that sometimes, because you have this big bruiser guy like Alberto Del Rio, who is freaking like on steroids or something right now, going up against Kalisto, where at one time he'll just push Kalisto, and Kalisto will do like 8 barrel rolls outside the ring, through the announce table, into the parking lot in my backyard. And then all of a sudden, Kalisto will run and do like a jump kick on Alberto Del Rio, and Alberto Del Rio like go flying, like he dies. So there's a lot of this really weird, like, the pacing gets thrown off on these matches. Unfortunately, I don't know why. These guys have fought a lot. It just didn't feel right. It didn't feel like a good ebb and flow of a match, because you had like, I'm going to do my spot. Okay, now I'm going to do my spot. Okay, now I'm going to do my spot. And you didn't get this flow of a normal match that you would expect. Of course, Lucha Libre is very, very notorious, in a good way, I guess, or infamous, whatever you want to say, for wearing their mask, and it's a very big dishonor if their mask is removed. So, of course, you had that gimmick while Alberto Del Rio keeps trying to take off Kalisto's mask, distracting him, then it leads into a low blow. It was just, the match didn't know what it wanted to do. Do you want to win the belt, Alberto, or do you want to take the guy's mask off? You can't do both, okay? Turns out you didn't do either, because out of nowhere, Kalisto hits his finishing move, the Solena del Sol. I'm probably saying that horribly wrong. Off the top rope. It's this really crazy kind of rope maneuver. And of course, he wins the belt again. He is now a two-time United States champion. He won it on Raw. He lost it on SmackDown. He won it here. It's a lot of bouncing back and forth. I don't know if this feud needs to continue. Alberto Del Rio clearly is destined for bigger things right now, with the whole League of Nations tag team thing that's going on. Although Wade Barrett was mysteriously absent tonight. But that's okay. Well, I mean, he was there, but he wasn't. I don't know. It was weird. I'll get into that in a little bit. But I think Kalisto's probably better off going and doing something else. This whole thing with him and Alberto Del Rio just isn't making sense. Please, WWE. Oh, they have a hard time making the United States Championship relevant, and it shows. Moving on to the Divas belt. This was Becky Lynch up against Charlotte. Now, Charlotte's gone full heel for a while. Obviously, with her father, Ric Flair, who's constantly going, woo! Which, again, with my surround sound, my back two speakers, is Ric Flair going, woo! Like, for however long this match was, which was surprisingly long for a Divas match. It was actually kind of funny. Because I watch everything on Hulu now, I do not have cable anymore, so I do not watch stuff live. I get everything, the Hulu they basically cut portions of the show. It appears to me that the Divas portion is cut because I didn't know these two really hated each other as much as they did. Although I know Charlotte and Becky Lynch have kind of been going back and forth at each other for a while, so whatever. Anyways, it was very clear at this point that Charlotte has gone full heel, doing the whole Ric Flairisms. At one point, she actually stands behind her dad. Ric Flair actually kisses Becky Lynch, which dazes her, which allows Charlotte to hit her with a move. The problem is with the Divas, and this continues in this match, they telegraph their moves way too early. Now, I don't know if it's these two specific Divas. I could say that I think Nikki Bella took the Divas division like this high, which is like the height of my camera right there. I mean, I think her wrestling is like technically like amazing. But when you watch Charlotte and you watched Becky Lynch, it just wasn't crisp. I mean, there were forearms that were like this. Like that slow. And they were selling them like they hurt. People were falling before they were hit. It was just very sloppy. And, you know, you try to watch a match and suspend disbelief and just enjoy it for like the story of the match. But when they're really this poorly executed, it's really, really hard to. It just really had a lot of telegraphed moves, low impact rolls, low impact hits. That isn't what the whole Divas Revolution kind of began. If you watch some of my older pay-per-view videos, I will tell you guys about how excited I was at that time because the women were actually doing a lot of slams, a lot of bombs, a lot of just impactful wrestling. I don't care so much if the match turns into judo like they do in UFC. A lot of people hate that. I don't care. I love it. I don't mind if it's a lot of submissions and holds and show off the technical portion of wrestling, but when they're just rolling around each other, it just doesn't really work. And unfortunately, this match to me just didn't work. Charlotte wins after a dirty maneuver. Specifically, what does she do here? Oh, Ric Flair interrupts by throwing his jacket in the ring. And Becky Lynch is like, what are you doing? And then Charlotte either pokes her in the eye or pokes her in the throat, something in the face. We couldn't really tell. And because the camera work was a little shoddy, that was something that was consistent throughout this whole pay-per-view. A lot of multiple action going on. I missed a lot of stuff. I don't know what happened here. I had to rely on Michael Cole because he's like, oh my God, did you see that? No, I didn't because we were too busy watching Ric Flair on the side of the ring instead of the goddamn action. Anyways, she wins. Charlotte retains the belt after a dirty maneuver. Sasha Banks, the boss, comes out after being back from some injury apparently. I didn't see her with Team Bad, Beautiful and Deadly or Beautiful and Dangerous, which is good because that sucked. Tamina and Naomi are destined for better things in this half-assed tag team type thing. Anyway, Sasha Banks comes out. She appears to be a face at first because she kind of gets in Charlotte's face. Then she knocks out Becky Lynch. She must be a heel. She gives Charlotte a high five, so now she's definitely a heel. As soon as Charlotte goes to leave, she hits her with her finishing move, the bank statement, which Charlotte does not sell at all, so I think she's a face again. I'm not sure, but she leaves and everybody's cheering, but Charlotte just pops up immediately like, what'd you do that for? So it just totally negated like her finisher. She's gonna have to come up with another one or something because it was just like, oh, you did your finisher on me? Whatevs. It was an okay Divas match in terms of length, but in terms of execution, this was one of the worst I've seen. Really unfortunate that Becky Lynch and Charlotte get such a long spot on arguably like the second biggest pay-per-view of the year, as we obviously have begun the road to WrestleMania, and you're going to put this crap out there? You guys can do better. Leads us to the grand finale, the Royal Rumble. Now, this one has a very interesting stipulation. Roman Reigns starts number one. The winner of the Rumble earns the WWE Heavyweight Championship. So Roman Reigns has to win. Typically, you just get a ticket to the main event of WrestleMania. This comes with an added bonus of the gold strap full free. I'm not going to read every single wrestler to you that came out, although, and I'm not going to give you line by line of the action because you know how Royal Rumbles are. I'll give you some of the highlights, though. AJ Styles. This dude comes out number 3. Everyone loses their shit. AJ Styles was huge because he was the face of TNA for years. And TNA was shot in my backyard at Universal Studios. They had the Impact Zone there right behind the Beetlejuice Arena, or the Beetlejuice stage, or whatever it was. So we went to TNA all the time. A lot of my friends here from Orlando love TNA. I know it's jumped ship so bad, I don't think anybody really watches it now. But when it was kind of hot, when Hogan came over and Abyss and AJ Styles were kind of rising up through the ranks, AJ Styles was really the face for a very, very long time over there. And it was really cool to see him. We knew he was going to make an appearance at some point, not necessarily at Royal Rumble, but we knew he had been signed and everything. But to have him come out was cool. Throughout the match, not just this with AJ Styles, but throughout the match, this was one of the most poorly executed Royal Rumbles in terms of camera work and in terms of this stupid no interference rule where you could like beat people up if you wanted to, even though you weren't in the match and there's no disqualification. If that's the case, why would not the entire locker room just storm out, throw Roman Reigns over the belt, or over the top, and then leave? Why wouldn't all 29 competitors just run out immediately when Rusev comes out at number 2? Why not have 2 through 30 at that point? Come on, grab Roman Reigns, throw him over the top. Okay, cool, now we got a chance at winning the belt and run back in. So you have this, like, we're kind of playing by the rules, but then we have this chaos. It just doesn't work. Lastly, they do this stupid thing where you can go over the top, or you can go under the ring, and it's not necessarily being out. So Roman Reigns actually gets hurt and comes back. Miz doesn't enter the ring for like 10 minutes. Really bizarre. Really, really bizarre. Something that made me laugh. I didn't know this. And again, this is probably cut out on Hulu. Maybe it's on SmackDown. I don't watch SmackDown. The social outcasts of Curtis Axel, Heath Slater, Adam Rose, and Bo Dallas. 4 guys who had pushes in WWE who did nothing have now joined to become the Social Outcasts, which is another loser tag team, which is hysterical to me. I don't know why they don't just get rid of these guys because they're just not working. I just thought that was kind of funny. Kofi Kingston does his notorious crazy spot where he gets thrown out of the ring, but he doesn't get eliminated. One year he bounced on a chair back in. One year he walked around the audience like the barrier and jumped back in. This year, Big E Langston caught him and they paraded around the ring and they were eating popcorn and drinking Cokes and stuff and celebrating. He got eliminated, but back to the shoddy camera work, we didn't see it because we were too busy watching Roman Reigns get in or out of a stretcher or something. We totally missed it. I'm like, why do we have the Royal Rumble if we're not going to show the goddamn Royal Rumble? It was very, very bizarre to me. What happened was the League of Nations comes out. League of Nations comes out and jumps Roman Reigns. They're not legally in the match. They beat the crap out of him. They throw him through the Canadian announce table, not the Spanish one. A little 2016 zinger there for you. The announce table gets destroyed, but it is not the Spanish one. They throw him through the announce table. Anyways, he gets hurt and leaves. League of Nations just walks away like, okay, cool, see you later. No penalty to them. They actually, Sheamus and, who's the other one? It wasn't Wade Barrett. Alberto Del Rio. Sheamus and Alberto Del Rio, part of the League of Nations, actually come out and compete later on. They were like 27 and 26 or something like that. Sheamus was 29, ADR was 27. They come out like nothing's wrong and just fight. It's so weird to me that they do this. WWE, I know that it's a goofy made-up sport, but it's got to have rules. If it doesn't have rules, it sucks. And what ends up happening is nobody understands what's going on. So we see Roman Reigns get his ass beat, taken on the stretchers, but he's still in the match, and he comes back. And they make that joke, and it's true. Last year, Curtis Axel was never eliminated. So he's technically still in the match. Is the Royal Rumble still going on, technically, from 2015? Very, very bizarre. There's a couple cool little standoffs as, you know, guys are coming in and going out. And it got into the routine again where, like, one guy would come in, do all his crazy moves, then he'd lay down. And for a while, the ring was getting very cluttered. There was a long stretch of no eliminations. A really cool standoff occurred between Braun Strowman, the brute of the Wyatt family, up against Big Show. And until you see them side by side, I think when they say Big Show is like the world's largest athlete, I don't know if that's true anymore. I think it might be Braun Strowman. That guy is jacked up. So it's cool to see them kind of face to face. Braun does his infamous throat bear hug thing on Big Show, and Big Show passes out, gets thrown over the ring. Kevin Owens comes back in later on in the action. He does a great job of selling the leg injury he had from Dean Ambrose. Him and Dean Ambrose go at it immediately. Then Kevin Owens, in typical heel fashion, screams, "Hey AJ, welcome to WWE," and eliminates him. The crowd was going nuts for AJ Styles. They continued to go nuts after the guy leaves. He was clearly the winner of the Royal Rumble, even though he didn't win the Royal Rumble. So that was kind of neat to see a little bit of feuding there. Sami Zayn comes back. Sami Zayn was hurt. He was on NXT. He comes back. That was kind of cool to see him return. I hope he's brought up to the main roster. He had a feud with Kevin Owens, immediately eliminates him. Eric Rowan comes out, and that's when I realized there was actually 3 Wyatt members at this point. You had Eric Rowan, you had Luke Harper, you had Braun Strowman, and they weren't working together. I'm like, what? Again, bad execution on the Royal Rumble. Think back to when my boys, the Nexus, at that point it was the new Nexus owned by Mr. CM Punk himself. Remember when they were systematically eliminating everyone to the point that they were all just sitting inside the ring waiting for the next opponent? CM Punk was just sitting there, and you had Mason Ryan, and I think it might have been Husky. I don't remember who the other guys were. It doesn't matter. But you had the Nexus sitting there just waiting for something to happen. And I didn't even realize that that's how bad of a job that they did. You have 3 guys who are clearly in an allegiance together, all in separate corners of the ring, all doing different things. It was like, what are you doing? It got very weird. And maybe it was weird before then, but that's when it got really weird for me. And I was like, oh, this is going to suck. Thankfully, my boy Brock Lesnar comes out and starts cleaning house. Dropping people, Jack Swagger, all these dudes, he just starts smoking them. And he's a beast, right? The beast incarnate. The Miz comes out, goes straight to the announce table. He doesn't even fight. He says he's going to wait for the opportune moment. Let me tell you the opportune moment. He tries to eliminate somebody. He doesn't work. He gets eliminated. But you won't see him get eliminated because they're too busy showing Roman Reigns returning back into the match. He gets eliminated just by magic. We don't get to see it at all. Meanwhile, Brock is just smoking people. Before Bray Wyatt comes in, Brock Lesnar single-handedly eliminates the Wyatt family. Bray Wyatt comes in. Then the Wyatt family comes back. Again, the rules don't matter. You just got eliminated, but apparently it doesn't matter because all the Wyatt family comes right back into the ring, beats up Brock, and they eliminate him, and then they leave again. Why wouldn't they just stay and eliminate everybody else and guarantee that Bray Wyatt wins the match? Well, I don't know. I mean, why doesn't League of Nations do the same thing? Again, the rules in this are just so screwed up. It's impossible to understand what's going on as a fan. All I know is my boy Brock Lesnar was rightfully winning that match and was he was legally eliminated, but he got the shit kicked out of him by 3 guys who were not even in the match. And then when they're done, they just all leave. Oh, okay, well, we got Brock. Hey, good luck, Bray. You're going to get eliminated like 10 seconds later. Really? The surprise entrance was number 30, was not Daniel Bryan. It was the Game, Triple H. And let me tell you something about Triple H. That guy looks freaking amazing. Now, I knew the second I saw Triple H he was going to win. I knew it in my heart because WWE does a horrible job of telegraphing these things. And Triple H, I love the guy, but I think he's got a little bit of an ego because every time he's in a main match, he wins. Sure enough, how does it all go down? Well, Hunter pretty much wins. That's what I wrote. Hunter wins. Triple H defeats Dolph Ziggler. Sheamus and Triple H take out Bray. Dean takes out Y2J. Then you're left with Hunter, Dean, Sheamus, and Roman. Roman takes out Sheamus. Hunter immediately takes out Roman. Then you have Dean and Hunter. Hunter takes out Dean and wins the championship. I'm happy. I don't know if I am particularly thrilled that a part-timer, as it were, is going to be in the main event of WrestleMania and that he's going to have to carry the show for a while. But let's face it, the shows have been stagnant. It's good to have a heel at the reign again. The authority continues to reign supreme whenever Vince McMahon is involved, minus that little stint during the Attitude Era with Stone Cold Steve Austin, the Authority always wins. I mean, Vince McMahon's theme song is "You Got No Chance in Hell." And let me tell you, man, Triple H comes back, Stephanie comes out. They got the League of Nations in their back pocket. This is like heel paradise. We're gonna wait for some faces to rise up. Unfortunately, Roman isn't really well received by the WWE. This is probably why they took the strap away from him, would be my guess. He was being booed extensively throughout the match. I would have liked Dean Ambrose to win, even though he's got the Intercontinental Championship. It would have been cool to be either two-time or vacate, obviously vacate the Intercontinental title. Overall, I don't know if I have to give it a rating, a B-. And I'll give it a B- because to me, that first match between Dean Ambrose and Kevin Owens really set the pace for amazing. The tag team match was so-so, but I think just that first match was so good. That's what I'm thinking about. The Royal Rumble had its moments of thrills and chills. It had the same kind of stuff we've seen from time and time again. But the rules is what really, you heard me say this now 1,000 times, the rules just need to be refined and explained better, or these villains just need to go full villainy and just ruin the match for the sake of ruining the match. Again, why you have tag team partners in there that aren't working together. Why would Y2J go after Dean Ambrose when 2 weeks ago they were buddies and helping each other out? I don't understand. Why wouldn't the good guys at least ally temporarily to go up against the bad guys? I don't know. Why certain factions would come in and eliminate certain superstars but not others, and then just leave to watch the guy they were trying to cheat to win eliminated and didn't do anything about it? I don't know. The Royal Rumble really needs to be reevaluated for next year. I really think that. I think that once the hype settles, yes, Triple H is back. Yes, Brock Lesnar is amazing. They both have a vengeance. Clearly, all eyes are on WrestleMania, and we're going to probably forget a lot about what happened, other than the only real takeaway is you had a couple title changes, and I think that of itself the match is going to be forgotten, mostly in part to push the story as we enter in Fastlane and to WrestleMania. But I'll tell you guys, when this dust settles, and I think the fan base is kind of calmed down after WrestleMania and that, March, April, WrestleMania this year is April, so like May, June, July, I think people may go back and look at this match and say, you know what, the Royal Rumble's kind of weird. We're going to get hyped up again. We're going to get the wrestling by numbers and the Kane's eliminated 1,000 people and blah, 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 blah. But the match in of itself needs to be better defined, and I think that's what kills it. And particularly this year, WWE is normally spot on with camera work. Horrendous this year. I missed so much action because we were looking at things that weren't involved. When we have Miz outside the ring on the announce table, we're missing the action. When Roman Reigns is laying in this Canadian announce table in pieces, we're missing the action. When he's stretched out, we're missing it. When he's stretched back in, we're missing it. He runs by and hits Sheamus, we're missing it. It's like we need to have split screen, or we need to just focus on the match. Let's have the action in the ring, okay? There's just too much going on. You already have 30 guys out there. Oh, I mean, I don't know, most maybe like 8 or 9 guys out there at once fighting, but focus your vision. Get it more concise. That's my thoughts on it. But you know what? At the end of the day, Triple H won. And just like I said not 2 minutes ago, people are going to forget about this. But for now, Hunter is once again at the reins. And that is everything Royal Rumble 2016. And I'm very excited. The road to WrestleMania is paving out very nicely. I think you're going to see some really cool power players start feuding for each other. Just wondering one question. Where the hell is Daniel Bryan? As always, I want to thank you all for watching. And until next time, I will see you guys on the other side.